All right, cooling. Let's talk cooling, proper cooling. So one of the things that I've seen over the years with food handling, and again, when we look at food as medicine as a whole, you want to make sure that you are storing and handling your food properly. That means that you are keeping cold things cold, hot things hot, and preventing your food from growing bacteria. Essentially can be foodborne illness. And so a couple things that you want to remember is that there's a two-stage process. Hot food is meant to stay at 135 degrees Fahrenheit or hotter. Cold food should be 41 degrees or colder, right? So 135 to 41, for my teams, I would always round it to the 40. So 140 and above, 40 or below. Now, that's my personal thing. So the thing is, from 135 to 41 is what they call the temperature danger zone, and anything above 70 degrees is where you get the most ideal temperature and environment for bacteria to reproduce and grow at its highest peak, meaning it'll, you know, exponentially. So whenever you cook something, if you're boiling it, whatever it is, or cooking, let's just say we've finished cooking this, and it's above 135 degrees, we need to cool it down from 135 to 70 within 2 hours. So you have a 2 hour window. Then after that, from 70 to 41, you have 4 hours. So you have a combined time limit of 6 hours to properly cool something. And again, that could be stock, that could be your soup, mashed potatoes, rice, however. The trick is how to make it fast. So for me, with my teams in my kitchens, I'd give them 2 hours to cook it from above 135 all the way to 41 or below. So how do we get it down that fast? And so there's many ways, right? Especially when you're doing large quantities. One is the container. The more surface area you have, the faster it'll cool. So like if you have rice, if you have mashed potatoes, those retain heat a lot. So you want those to be as thin as possible, wide as possible. If you have a metal container, put the metal so the heat escapes from all sides. Just make sure the container has air or sitting on something cold, ice or something that'll cool it down. Uh, then some may say, why don't I just throw it in the freezer, in the fridge? You can. However, the larger something is, the longer it's going to take to cool down. Your fridges are not meant to handle steam. So you might actually raise the temperature in your fridge, burn out the condenser, and spoil the entire fridge. Same goes with the freezer. In commercial kitchens, you use what you call a blast chiller or blast freezer, and that is a special type of fridge slash freezer that's designed to pull out all the heat and cool your stuff down to the proper temperature within those time limits. A couple things like for like soup, if you make soup, you could always throw in some ice cubes. Someone's going to say, well, doesn't that water it down? Yes, but you're going to need water a little bit to reheat it anyhow. So you're not actually taking away flavor once you bring it back to a boil. Another thing to keep in mind is keeping stuff cold. So sometimes where I cringe or I look at things is I go to the stores during the summer months, which are coming up. People go on their shopping, go buy meat, go buy seafood, whatever, chicken, and they leave it in their car and go somewhere else to shop. And your car gets very hot very fast and when the windows are closed and it's hot outside. So you're expediting the amount of heat in your car, which goes into your food, which causes bacteria to grow. The fastest something's going to turn is seafood, fish, seafood. Usually you want that stuff in ice no matter what, even if it's in the fridge. Then you'll have your meats and of course your poultry, and your poultry is the one that has the most bacteria. So take a cooler, put it in a cooler with some ice, be safe about it. But anyways, when you go to the store, you want to make sure you see the fridges that, hey, they're 41 or below. If they're running hot, you might want to question that items that are there. And then same thing with your fridge. It's always good to have a a little thermometer in there. So you know what, something simple, where your temperature is. I'll put it sometimes in the front because that's where the heat will escape first. And then if I'm continually opening, I can see where my temperature is. So that's always a good fail safe right there. The last thing you want is your fridge to get hotter over 41. And then, I've known some people that their fridges ran around 50 and they never really considered it. And they were starting to wonder why, people were getting sick or stomach issues. Food was spoiling faster. Well, they didn't know that their temperature was running hot until the fridge actually fell apart. So kind of keep that in mind. But yeah, once you hit your 70 degrees, you have 4 hours to bring it down even further. My recommendation is always just get it cool as fast as possible. And remember just that rule of 40, 140 or above to stay food is hot, 40 or below to keep food cold, especially during those summer days, and especially if you go out with like a picnic. Don't leave your meat out all over the place. Don't leave your chicken out all over the place. You never know. And the last thing you want is a foodborne illness, and it's not anywhere near when you say like, oh, I have diarrhea or whatever, the squirts. When you have a foodborne illness, you will not forget it. I've been there twice in the hospital. Not the greatest. Comes out on all ends and at some point through wherever. So, yeah. So hopefully, that works for food safety in terms of just handling your food. Oh, there's one other thing I wanted to point out. There are some products that are what we call TCS or time temperature controlled foods. And one of the biggest things I always point out is these are foods that once they hit, like they're being processed, by that you mean sliced, peeled, however, they grow bacteria a lot faster and can spoil and create foodborne illness at a significant scale. And so for those items, you want to be particularly careful because many don't even think about that. One of them is tomatoes. Right? For the most part, many of us keep tomatoes at room temperature. And so when you cut into it, you're already, let's just say, at the 70-degree mark. And tomatoes have a lot of residual water. So it's humid, it's moist, and it's warm. Bacteria explodes. And so if you ever go to a place to eat and you see sliced tomatoes on a salad bar, on a buffet, or whatever, and it looks like it hasn't been refrigerated, I'd probably be safe and skip it. And potatoes and rice. If you don't put them thin enough, they keep that heat and create more bacteria over time. Have had individuals place mashed potatoes in the fridge and 13, 14 hours later, they're still about 100 degrees because it didn't. So there goes all of that into the garbage because it's can't take a chance. And the other one that sometimes people don't think is melons. So melons also tend to grow more prone to bacteria on the outside of their shell. So it's always good to really wash down your melons. And when you cut it, this before you cut it, of course, then you cut it in and chill them. So with melons, I always say just put them in the fridge, take them out, clean them, wash them, slice them, however you're going to do it, and put them back in the fridge. Especially for when you go in the summer, a lot of people like to have fresh melon out in the park or in a picnic. So there's another one.
Thank you for joining us on this enlightening episode of Food as Medicine, where medicine meets the menu. We hope today's episode has inspired you to rethink the role of food in your health journey. Remember, the power to nourish your body and mind lies on your plate. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share. Food as Medicine, where medicine meets the menu, on all major podcast platforms with others who are passionate about living well. Until next time, keep experimenting in the kitchen and discovering the powerful, healing potential that lies within every meal.